I want to talk with you about quarterback player development because I think this league's got a problem with it, with this subject matter. There's too many quarterbacks, second, third stringers that when they get out there are not nearly as up to speed or have the experience necessary to help a team win or bridge a gap between weeks that quarterbacks are hurt. We're seeing it more and more and more. And listen, I know when I first started with NFL Network 22 years ago, there were a bunch of teams that said these voluntary workouts are really mandatory. And you as a union needed to do something about it. And I think you have. But it just seems that there's less and less time that guys can be in the building. There's less and less time which guys can be in a playbook. There's less and less time in which practices and reps can be given to backups that might need to be called upon. And I'm wondering what you think of this subject matter as a union, because the last thing you want is a union member to go out there unready, because that's the way a career can get destroyed, JC.
Yeah, and not to turn this around on you and interview you, but I got actually a question on that too.
Let's have a chat.
Like, sure. I feel like more so than ever, the top of the market, or like the top quarterbacks, there's more of them than ever before, where we're seeing more really competent, quality quarterback play from the starters. I get your question about the backups, but I feel like that also has always been somewhat an issue. Like, the quarterback position is the toughest position in sports.
Agreed.
It's not easy. It is both from a mental and physical standpoint. Being that highly skilled and capable is very hard. So I would love to, I would want to dive more into and look back and see where we're trending. I feel like that's always been an issue too, where, the old saying, if you got two quarterbacks, you got none. Like, you're never really expecting the backup to be on the same level as your star, especially if you have a really good one. So there's always going to be a little bit of a knock. But there's a bunch of different ways to look at player development overall. I think there's a level of football readiness that always plays in a factor of getting ready for the season. There's a physical level of readiness that plays into it. And I think there are some things we should look at overall when it comes to the offseason and training camp, is how do we thread the needle of doing both? How do we make the offseason valuable and training camp valuable to get players to develop and become better players, but also be more physically ready? We've continued to work on injury rates and work on number of soft tissue injuries. I think there's still more work to be done there. So I think we need to look at more of a full package or full picture of what we can do to make sure the product we're putting on the field is a high level as we can. And that is preparing players to be ready to go out there, but also making sure that the truly generational talents don't unnecessarily get hurt. And that comes with preparedness too. So I think it's a two-pronged issue to make sure we've got the best product on the field.
No, listen, I'm still scratching my head over why, well, I'm sure it was money, why NFL Europe got shuttered, JC. I speak to a bunch of people. I work with Kurt Warner, who says his time in the Arena League and the NFL Europe got him ready for his Magic Carpet Ride 99 season, and it was with Kurt, just as an example, a couple of years ago, I'm in a meeting, a pre-broadcast meeting in London with Mike Vrabel with the Titans, and I asked him how Will Levis is doing. He shrugged his shoulders. He goes, I don't know. I mean, we can't get him reps during the week, and he hardly got to play in the preseason. And so I have no idea. And he was one Ryan Tannehill moment away from having to play Will Levis and win games with a roster full of veterans that were depending on the quarterback spot. So it just seems that the way things are set up right now, it is not a successful plan in place right now for crucial moments to be met by, as you said, the most difficult position to evaluate and develop. JC.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Again, I think we need to look at how we can improve that overall. And I think that's another thing we all should be aligned on, right? Like, we want to make sure our players are getting better. Our players should want to get better. And then, the better product we put out there brings in more money to those players who are performing. So I think it's something we all should be aligned on. I think there are a couple different ways we can work on solving that. But all that plays into the sides coming together and figuring it out.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.